Thank you for coming. I want to read one poem. It's in the form of a sestina, and got an echo on the mic, I'm sorry. As you may know, a sestina is a form in which there are 6 stanzas of 6 lines each, but the final words of the lines of the first stanza have to be repeated in all the other stanzas in a changing order. So it's kind of complicated. I mean, fun, but you know. And this one is about an ancient Greek lyric poet named Hipponax, who was noteworthy because he wrote poetry about the lower classes, people impoverished, homeless, helpless, hopeless. Other Greek poets wrote about kings and queens and shiny surfaces. So he was different in that regard, and he also mentions the scapegoat ritual, which you may know something about. It's a metaphor to us, but to the ancient civilization, it was all too real an institution. Poverty remix, a sestina. Poverty is a scapegoat. We drive them out. Hermes, I shiver like crazy. Give Hipponax a cloak. Don't look it in the eyes. We forbid you asking in God's name for bread. We distinguish relative, some teeth, from absolute, no teeth, poverty, by means of an algorithm. Hipponax invented a poetic meter called limping iambic, deliberately ugly in rhythm. Longing and violence built up over a lifetime, unloaded on the scapegoat. Did you think the Black Death, with its depopulation of Europe by 1/3, would bring an abundance of bread? Instead, everything ran out. Stinginess blazed from all eyes. Never mind morals, no one had a fig or a cloak. Beware the ruses and swindles of the poor, many of whom already have a cloak. You say, is poverty so different? We want things, they want things, similar rhythm. Note, shame lives upon the lids of the eyes. First we wash you in the angel's tenderness, dear little filthy farting goat. Then, out. Well, yes, we keep all the bread. We forbid you using the God card casually for bread. We forbid you touching our cloak. No gloves, here's $1. No hands, out. And this Hipponax, who was he, with his scatological girls and his cockshaker rhythm? Buffoon, imposter, caricaturist, scapegoat. Hunger came parching out of his eyes. We have a little game. Take turns looking in the eyes of that filthy farting one with his filthy farting bread, who, we are sure, has volunteered to go forth as scapegoat from the folds of our sacred civic cloak and the beat of our reddish foam rhythm. Count 4 when you breathe in and 6 when you breathe out. Tell me, is drive them out the same as have stones for eyes? Sung in a shame-resistant, extra-grammatical, grand, nasty, mother fig fucker flogged rhythm that soaks the bread in blood and rips the cloak off the scapegoat. Why does poverty exist? Because stinginess does. In its macroeconomic law of demand and demand, cloak. In its ritual pharmakos, we beat them with branches, cloak. In its they might be faking it, pity and barley cakes, cloak. In its war against idleness, we're all debts owed to death, cloak. In its enough if they do not die of hunger or cold, Martin Luther, cloak. Give Hipponax a cloak. Give Hipponax a cloak. Give Hipponax a cloak. Thank you.